What's your go-to comfort TV show? Oddly enough, I really love rewatching Monk from time to time as it gives me comfort about my own self. Even though it's a fictional show, it was the only show that I've been able to fully relate to its main character. It helped me come to terms with and fully accept my mental quirks and the reality that just because I suffer from severe social anxiety and various phobias, those things don't make me any less of a person than anyone else. Abnormalities aren't inherently bad, and there's plenty of real people out there that you can connect with or relate to. Friends. I don't usually turn it on at home, but during the pandemic, we had it playing on a loop in the break room. TBS or one of those plays it constantly. And it was better than the polarizing news we had previously had on. Lots of masks and vax and Trump debates, whole second level of trauma there. I was grateful to have something familiar and mundane in the background, and sometimes it would make you laugh too. I tend to switch between a few. I fall asleep to one of these shows every night. Parks and Recreation, Superstore, Seinfeld, The Larry Sanders Show, High Maintenance, Futurama, Great News, Frasier, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Cheers, Peep Show UK, Schitt's Creek, Arrested Development, The Office US, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Space Force, Malcolm in the Middle, Silicon Valley. No reservations. Anthony Bourdain has this way of making you feel immersed in these far-flung destinations and cultures. When working 6 to 7 days a week with a full-time job and a part-time job, I often just feel caged by work, sleep, repeat. Anthony and his show seems to open that cage and put me at ease, if only for a moment. R.I.P. Mr. Bourdain, and thank you, Will Grace. I don't think my sister realized how much it meant to me to watch that show as a closeted gay kid. We never spoke about it, but I know it was her way of saying it didn't matter to her. I later met Megan Mullally Karen and she kissed me on the cheek and I thought I was going to die. I immediately texted my sister. Criminal Minds. I've been watching it since I was like 14-13 now, and I've seen every episode at least 5 times if not more for the earlier seasons. It's not really what you typically think of as a comfort type show, but I just love the cast and I've seen it enough that I don't need to pay attention. The Simpsons old Halloween episodes, but they have to be in Spanish. My dad bought me a DVD that had the first 7 seasons before I learned English, so I would watch them all night on repeat. To this day, I'll play it as background noise or for Halloween or just because it reminds me of those days. Heart, Superstore. I don't have to follow along if I don't want. Easy comedy. The actors aren't Hollywood pretty. Everyone seems like an average person you would see in daily life. They're all idiots, so it's easy to connect with. And most importantly, the intro theme is 4 seconds long and unobtrusive. Family Guy or American Dad, I've rewatched the seasons so many times. I now use the shows for background noise while I do stuff, and I still end up laughing at certain moments even though I've heard them 1,000 times. Lately, Malcolm in the Middle. Not only is it a fantastically well-made show, but my family's problems exist to a greater degree in their family. They're a troubled family but ultimately have great lives. It's comforting. Everybody Hates Chris, Malcolm in the Middle, Impractical Jokers, Martin, King of the Hill, Simpsons Early Years, American Dad, Big Bang Theory, American Housewife, Blackish, Psych. Nothing like a good murder investigation to brighten my day. I also like It's Always Sunny, especially older seasons. Some of their newer ones are kind of a miss for me. The Mentalist. My mom introduced me to the show about 10 years ago and I loved it. We watch the entire series all the way though at least twice a year. It's our thing. Columbo. I used to watch it with my mom when I was a kid, so it's the massive shot of nostalgia. I always love the bumbling detective getting one up on the killers. Parks and Rec. Modern Family. Edited to add Parks starting season 3. Starting 4 is best but 3 is good too. I just skip the ones where Leslie and Ben are fighting. Friends. Every time. I can't even start a new one even if I spend hours trying to find a new series. I like Modern Family too, but they took it out of Netflix. God, Psych has aged so gracefully. The characters are a delight. The actors have chemistry and the writers-producers are still serving the fans. Disenchantment on Netflix. I find the colors in the theme of the kingdom comforting to look at. It feels almost like reading a bedtime story. Don't call me basic, but Friends has been my go-to for the longest time. It's been an incredibly reliable pick-me-up for its timeless jokes. Newhart. The theme sung by Henri Mancini sets the tone. Then the deadpan humor and understatement by Bob Newhart. A recipe for comfort. Suits. I've seen it enough times now that I mainly use it as background noise because I can tune in at any time and know what's going on. Trailer Park Boys. funny, and I've seen it so many times that I don't need to be glued to the screen to know what's going on. King of the Hill, and I love that it has been all over the place lately. So excited for it to come back. Dad, I like bear. It comforts me to not have the TV on. Too much chatter noise disturbs my brain. But if I must, it's always been Friends. Arrested Development Seasons 1-3. Funniest show ever made and super rewatchable. I keep noticing new jokes every time. Law and Order SVU. Lol, don't judge me. Been watching this show so long, it's just so familiar and comforting. Sopranos or King of the Hill. I used to need to watch The Sopranos to fall asleep after my night shift job. Friends. I'm watching it the 6th time because it is just so damn funny, it makes me happy whenever I am not. This might sound silly, but The Sopranos. I just grew up surrounded by the accent, so it's comforting to me. Superstore. Growing Heart. Some PPL say I'm corny for this but it's the first sitcom that I watched. Shahija. Recently it's been What We Do in the Shadows and Big Mo Tooth, but Parks and Rec will always be the ideal. Whenever I am too sick to go to work, I sit in bed and watch Doctor Who and it makes me feel better. Forensic Files. The narrator's voice is super soothing and I've seen each episode multiple times. The Golden Girls. Nothing like being lulled to sleep by sarcastic, witty, and horny grandmothers. Frasier, LOL, the original one. I grew up in Seattle and the local references make me feel cozy. Friends, One Tree Hill, The OC, Gilmore Girls. Basically any show I watched when I was a teen. I rotate between Psych, Scrubs, King of the Hill, Futurama, That 70s Show, Parks, and Rec. Friends. Feels like I hung out with a bunch of old friends every time I watch an episode. Well, it was that 70s show, but they seem to be having their own Avengers, Civil War, and NCIS. I've watched all of them multiple times. It's like watching my friends on TV. Home Movie and Bob's Burger. I'm a John Benjamin fan. The guy is hilarious. Last Airbender Korra. I rewatch the series once a year, if not more. Friends, but since Matthew Perry died, I can't get myself to watch it. King of the Hill, Shameless, Modern Family, Parks, and Rec, The Office. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry makes me feel like I'm less of an asshole. Golden Girls, seen it more times than I can count. Thank you. Scrubs, coin flip on whether I'll be laughing or crying by the end. The Joy of Painting with Bob Ross. It's the TV equivalent to Xanax. 6 Feet Under. It's hilarious and comforting in a non-fluffy way. Star Trek or on BTS. Okay, that's not exactly a TV show, but still. Scrubs is number 1. Psych for number 2. Leverage for number 3. Vampire Diaries. Don't judge me. Or do, that's fine too. Woman Shrugging. Rules of Engagement. How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory, MASH. I'm sure I've watched every episode at least 20 times. Seinfeld. I finally get why my parents laugh so much. Reno 9/11. Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, cheesy comedy sitcoms. Columbo never fails for me, and Tales from the Crypt. Adventure Time. It's a cartoon, I love it. Lamau.